Hi, Aries. Coming into this month, I felt a lot more grounded than I thought I would. But then again, coming from mutable water where you don't know where the healing or the sting or whatever is going to come from because it's coming from all different directions can leave one tired either throughout the month or towards the end of the month. So if you felt a little fatigue or lethargy up until your season, you just have to remember that you don't have to go full throttle just because your season started. Maybe the point of Pisces season was to slow you down a little on purpose. There is reflection happening maybe in the first few days. Reflection about it's possible that you're thinking about time. Maybe what time has taken from you, or what you feel like time has taken from you, or you feel like certain situations in your life have taken from you, whether it's energy or ideas. Right now you could be feeling like a loss to an extent. It's possible that some of you are just going through this point where you're recognizing that you can't change anything that has happened, whether it was your decision or a mutual decision, because every situation has two sides to it. Regardless if someone, and like, just hear me out, positive and negatives here. Regardless if someone has wronged you or hurt you, to one end, the reason why we don't forget those things, or the reason why those things impact us in those moments, is because for the most part, that's a lesson we have to learn. And it feels like this lesson has been going on forever. And Pisces season, especially this year, it was heavy. It was heavier than normal, tired than normal, yet for some reason, in my experience, it felt like it went by like this. And for you, it may have not felt that way. Last month possibly could have dragged you a little bit more than you'd like to admit. There's a part of you that really wants this full life. Again, this card depicts Ten of Pentacles as being the happy family, marriage, abundance, and building something together. But this is also just the idea of the traditional role. So you have 10 of Cups at the bottom of the deck. You're thinking about now what that actually means for you and what you actually want, and knowing that that's okay if you want a very traditional way of life and if that's the direction you want to go. However, this month, your month, is circling back to the beginning, grounding. I think for you, you feel a lot safer in this month. If you allow yourself to go at a pace that's not full throttle every day, and not that every Aries does this, some Aries are very grounded in understanding that how things move. And that's the wiser that you become. That's when you actually take the lessons and implement them into your life. This one's a big cycle. This is going to ask you to be stronger and take everything and implement it into your life. It's possible that a connection started, love, for most of you this could be love. A connection started, and then it may have brought you into great doubt. It felt like being a kid, but then slowly and more surely you started to feel more trapped and confused in what this really is. It's your season, and I know that you like to be more external, but it seems like it's asking you to be very communicative about what you want and how you feel and what you want your life to be like and what you want it to look like for you. It's not just about how things look, it's what you really want and desire. And I think you're becoming extremely clear with whoever you're involved with, and with yourself, it's becoming very clear to you that you want something that's going to last. You want something with someone who has the strength and courage that you also have. But this is a very non-egoic way, like the ego that's look at me, of handling things. However, strength is also Leo energy. or related to that. This is also about you understanding that if there's a stubbornness that you're having about a situation, you need to allow yourself to be either okay with it this month, go through it, and then decide if this is somewhere you're not willing to compromise on. Because as a cardinal sign, it's up to you to direct things for the most part, and especially the trajectory of your life. And if this person or this situation in your life isn't for the long term and they're not going to be able to build and grow with you, it can't just be out of hope and wishing, right? Each situation that you're in, whether it's business or a relationship, it's a partnership going on. There's a relationship, there's something building. And if it's a situation where you can't really leave yet, it's really time to take on this mindset of what every actionable step you're taking right now is going to be a part of the future steps in the long term. So the more that you're very clear with yourself, now you don't have to say this outwardly unless it's an intimate relationship. Now would be a great time to communicate that. Mars is going into Pisces on the 14th, and you may not feel ready to speak up until then, but I'm telling you, it's going to help you unlock something and realize 2 of Swords, 2 of Cups, 8 of Cups. So this is a very, as much as like you want to create and do things out in the world, this past year, especially the experiences that you've had with yourself, with people around you, whether they're positive or negative or both, or whether you're learning things, is preparing you, because you are the access with Libra. Next month, next year, and I know that's a while ahead of time, but I kind of want to start like laying it out for you, because the nodes are moving into those signs next year, into your sign. And it's really important that you understand that all of these things are going to have to be implemented. All of these things are going to be a part of what's preparing you for the years to come, especially next year. And it's really just important for you to be more thorough. You know how to burn things down, no problem, but this is asking you not to just burn things down because you have the fire and the energy to do so. This is asking you to walk away from either a literal person or a situation, a physical place, or to walk away from something that's been holding you back internally, because sometimes those things go hand in hand, but not every time. There might be something that you learned a long time ago that in order to evolve through these relationships now and these situations now, you have to move on from that thing that has protected you, because actually it's just holding you back now. Now is the time to take the risk, and it's a very emotional risk. And I know that's something you're not normally afraid to do, but right now there's just so much more, like, the word I want to use is gusto to it. There's so much more oomph to it. There's just, it seems like what I'm saying is very black and white. It's not going to be very black and white. The decision will ultimately be black and white. Like, is it the internal decision or is it the physical decision? Either way, it's going to bring you away from what's taking away from your energy and making you feel extra lethargic at this point. Like, you're already letting go of cycles and moving on from things and really noticing a lot that's shown up in how Venus being in retrograde in Capricorn and then in Capricorn for so long, and going back to the months prior, you're realizing that Venus being the sign of love and money and how you kind of interact with those things in your world. And then there's more to it, but those are the most prominent, most important right now. That's a part of the longevity. That's a part of what you have to work with. That's what you have to work towards. And having another person in your life can either make that really supportive, or it could become very disruptive. And for some of you, you're unsure of what that is because, and this is something that your axis does as well, is where you don't realize that sometimes you're relating being supportive and disruptive, and that's sometimes just codependency. And if some of you are going through that right now, I advise you to look into things further to help you, because there are many different situations. And I know that's like a heavy one, but that's why there's that extra, like, what can't I shake right now that you may be feeling. But again, in order to move forward, it's important to have those conversations about what's really bothering you, what that Two of Swords is that can turn into that conversation. Two of Cups, connect more deeply, connect more intimately with who and what's around you, and realize what you really need to move on from and what it is that you really need to move on from that's been holding you back. Bottom of the deck. Then there's this very strong sense of self by the end of the month. And you might find that you run into people where you find that equal connection. You're like, oh, this person is showing me something. And that doesn't always have to happen, but you're going to find yourself seeing that more and more with this other part of awareness that's coming through. You just need to take on that courage and that willingness to be open without being destructive first. You know, instead of assuming something, to really go into something, ask the question, knowing that you are going to support yourself no matter what happens and what comes from that, but you're also going to be open to the other person being heard, just even a little bit, because this month is actually bringing, so the month about self, this is the most important part of yourself. If you can do this and really understand that this is an important part to your external world, because next month the fruits of your labor are going to start to arise, especially the ones that you've been planting for a while, because I know you have, and I know you've been making those steps, and that's fucking incredible. Especially if you're wanting to do something on your own, you have to have the courage and faith to have to do that. So in order to do that, you're going to have to connect with a lot of people. Therefore, they must start with the people that you're most intimately connected to. And that last month showed you that more and more, and it's okay. It's okay that someone is able to make you feel soft for once. And I know how difficult that can be. But as a sign who needs to be able to run wild and free and, you know, have your sparklers in your hands while you're doing it, next month can be more of that. And you will see in a slower season how fast things will move if you allow your season to really burn down what you really need to burn down in order to in order to really get rid of a nerve, or even that think about, like, if a shoelace breaks, or where with those bracelets, where in order to put them together you have to actually burn the end of them to connect them. So you're melding right now, so to speak. Something is really melding within you, and it's going to make more sense to you and feel more comfortable by next month. That could feel like so far away, but it's actually not. And I hope this makes sense to you because it's extremely specific. You will be very clear by the end of the month as well, but it's not so much that that's the goal. It's that you're able to speak and feel how you want to without having major negative consequences on the other side. It's all about this way of attracting or being a part of something that seems so innocent at first, but really it's not. It's only so fun, and then you're like, okay, well, what is this really? And you don't really want to find yourself there again, but you have to be willing to understand why you pick those people, or why you maybe default, you know, or situations. So it's not just one way. All right, Aries? Slow beginning, but then let things unfold. And I feel like, as much as this seems like there's a hard work, you're a warrior and you can do the hard work. And the beautiful thing about warriors is that they do live through their heart first and foremost. And that is something that you'll see that this month is all about. It's all heart. And the Leo ruled by the sun, which is ruled by the heart. So if there is a Leo in your life, they might even, just by observing who they are and what their life is, could show you something a little bit more. But we'll get into that in the second part. In the second part, we'll look at the cards and I'll show you, and it'll become more clear. If you want to learn, this is what helped me learn even more. In doing readings for people, have helped me more explain by looking at it, because then you can see for yourself if you're curious. And then all other information to work with me is below as well. And I hope you have a great birthday month, and I will see you in Taurus season.